Hello students, welcome back to your science class. So students, in the previous class, in the chapter that is structure and function of cell, we were talking about the variations that we can see in the different cells. These variations can be on the basis of their number, students. We found out that the organisms, they used to vary in the number of cells. That is, they are divided into two types: unicellular and multicellular organism. Unicellular organism are those organisms which are made up of only one cell, and multicellular organism are those which are made up of a many cell. Talking about the multicellular organism, basically it consisting of a cell, and when the cell, they combine together to form a group of a specialized cell, then there is a formation of a tissue. Now these tissues, they combine together to form organ, and finally organ, they combine together in order to form a system which is called as organ system, students. Now, so this is how the formation of an organism occur in case of the multicellular organism, student. So this is how we can differentiate between the unicellular and multicellular organism. We have already seen that how we can make the unicellular cell differ from the multicellular. Then student, we were discussing that how the cells, they vary in their shapes. So the cells, they used to vary in their shape, like now amoeba is there. Amoeba is having pseudopodia. The pseudopodia makes, there is no definite shape of amoeba, and the reason is because it is consisting of a pseudopodia. This pseudopodia will help in the movement, as well as it also help in engulfing the food material which is coming to the surface of the amoeba. Now, not only the students, when it engulfs the food material, and that will help in the digestion. So this is the one of the function of the pseudopodia, and pseudopodia is what? Because of the pseudopodia, it do not have its own shape. It used to change its shape as it moves. In case of a multicellular organism, this is the first case in which the unicellular organism used to show the different kind of a shape, student. But multicellular organism also shows some kind of a different shapes of a cell, including the nerve cell is there. So nerve cells are elongated and branched, and their function is to transmit the information from one place to the another. Then talking about the muscle cells, so muscle cells, they are spindle in shape, and their role is contraction and expansion. Talking about skin cell, it is present all over the body. They are flat cells. So they are of a different shape, and they are of a different function. It means the cells having different shapes have to perform the different functions also. So this is how we can say that the cells used to vary from each other through in the shapes. Now let us see here, students, how that how the cells, they used to vary in the through the size also. Different cells, they vary from each other in their size. So variation in size. Variation in size. So, irrespective of the different kind of different living organism, there are different kind of cells are there. We said that in a living cell, student, red blood cells, bone cells are there, muscle cells are there. They are of a different shape. So also there are cells which differ from each other in the form of a size. That there are cells which are bigger in size and which one smaller in size. Okay, so we can write here that irrespective of living organism the cell size may vary. The cell size may vary. Second one, that the size of the cell may be small or short, may be short as a micrometer. Means they can be small, they can be very small as we have to measure it in a micrometer, or as long as a meter. Okay, so size of the cell, it can be this much small that it can be the will be measured in the micrometer, or it can be the it can be in the meter also. It means they can be very small or they can be very large, student. Okay, so and if you look at the cell, students, so looking at the size of the body also, it does not depend, it does not mean that like rat's body is there or elephant's body is there. So some of the cells in case of a rat, it may be larger, as some of the cells which is present in the elephant, it can be smaller. So it really doesn't matter that what kind of a living organism it is. If a living organism is there, so different kind of cells, including the different size of the cells, may vary, may be present there. So it totally does not depend upon the type of a living organism, student. Okay, so generally if we talk about the cells, when you look at the cells, students, you will find that we can see the cell only with the help of a powerful microscope. So question arises that is the microscope, is we are not able to see with the help of a microscope, that we will going to discuss later. But just I just want to tell you one thing, that here with the help of the microscope we are able to simply see the cell wall and the cytoplasm and the nucleus which is present in it. But the other thing, we need a powerful microscope. So we will say that all the different cells can be seen easily with the help of a powerful microscope. And in case of a human body, in human body, red blood cells which is also called as RBCs. Red blood cells, RBCs, are the smallest cell. Are the smallest cell, while nerve cells are the largest cell. Okay, so here you can see that even in the human body also there are cells which are really very small and there are cells which are large. So talking about the nerve cells, they are elongated, student, and that is why they are the largest cell present in the body, present in the human body. While RBCs, they are very small in size. Okay, and if we look at the overall, students, so you will find that the egg of an ostrich, that is ostrich egg cell, is considered to be the largest cell. And an organism, a microscopic organism is there which is called as a mycoplasma, and that is considered to be the smallest cell. Okay. So, egg of egg cell of ostrich, that is a large cell. Okay, so this is how we can say that the cell also vary from each other in their size. It means different cells, they are of a different size, student. Now, talking about how we can view the cell. Right now I said that when we take a cell and view it in the microscope, what are the things that we can see and what are the different microscope with the help of which we are able to see the cell. So, the next topic is the view of the cell or viewing cells. Is the viewing cells. Okay, viewing cell, students, or view what happened when we view a cell. So we can say that we are able to see most of the cell. We can view the cell only with the help of the microscope. Cells are really very small, so it is not possible to see it with the help of with the naked eyes. So we can see with the help of a microscope. There is a microscope, student, which is a compound microscope. It is an optical instrument. Why we used to call this optical? Because it is related to eye, because with the help of this microscope we see anything. So anything which is related to eye, we use a term for it, that is optical. You have heard that in the shops it is optics written wherever you went for your spectacles, to correct your spectacles. So the reason of writing optics, because it is related to eye. So compound microscope is what? It is an optical microscope with the help of which we can view a large image of a small object. So that is why I am saying that we are able to see the cell with the help of a compound microscope or with the help of a microscope. So cells can be seen with the help of microscope. So we can say here the cells can be seen with the help of the microscope. Okay, with the help of the microscope. Now let us see that what is a compound microscope. So basically a compound microscope is an optical instrument that produces enlarged image of an object. Enlarged image of an object for analysis and examination. So in order to analyze any object or in order to examine any object, student, when we will take this object and keep it under the microscope, then we are able to see the enlarged image of that particular object, and this is how the compound microscope works. It means it is what? It is an optical instrument. Basically, it helps in producing the enlarged image of the object, whichever it is kept there to examine that particular object. Okay, so this is the role of the compound microscope. Talking about the compound microscope, and let us see that what are the things which is involved in the compound microscope, student. So there is basically eyepiece is there and objective lens is also there. So two lenses are present. Let me write it. A compound microscope has two lenses. It has two lenses. So basically compound microscope have two lenses. Let us see what are the two lenses which is present in the compound microscope, students. So the two lenses are, that is the upper lens. The upper lens, which is called as eyepiece. Okay. So the first one is the upper lens, which is called as eyepiece, and the lower lens, which is called as objective lens. So first one is the upper lens and the second one is the lower lens. Upper lens is called as eyepiece. Why is it so? Because with the help of which we used to view the image of the object. Okay. And the second one is the objective lens, which basically focus or help in enlarging the object. Okay. So objective and eyepiece. Now the object can be, the object which we will going to view, it is called as a specimen. Okay. So the object to be viewed is called specimen. This is called as a specimen. Basically, the object that we will going to view, that is called as a specimen. Okay. Whatever the object that we had taken, student, it is called as specimen. Now, this specimen will be kept on a thin glass sheet, you can say, and that we called as a slide. So we used to keep this specimen on this glass, on this thin glass rectangular sheet, that is called as a slide. So a thin sheet of a glass, a thin sheet of the glass used to hold the specimen called slide. That is called as slide. And we used to keep this slide near to the objective lens, which is called as stage. So the slide is placed for observation. Slide is placed for observation on a flat plate called stage. That is called as stage. Okay. So compound microscope, these are some of the parts of the compound microscope. Let me remind you what are the things that we have seen in case of a compound microscope, student. So the first thing, that there are two lenses are there. The first lens is the eyepiece and the second lens is the objective lens. Eyepiece is that with the help of which the person who is viewing that of the object can view it with the help of the eyepiece. Second one is objective lens, where we used to keep the object. Which means this is the lens where which is very close to the object. Okay, which help in enlarging the size of the object. And then specimen, students, the thing which we are going to view, that is called as the specimen, and this specimen is kept on a thin sheet of a glass which used to hold the object, which used to hold the specimen, that is called as slide. And now this light, because we have to observe it now, so we used to keep it on a flat surface of the compound microscope called as stage. Okay. Now using a microscope, how we use this microscope, students? So let us see that what are the points which should be included in it. How to use the microscope means how we can view anything in the microscope. So, using a microscope. Using a microscope. So the first one is, that is, place the specimen with the slide, which is kept on the slide, on the stage, because we have to view it. So the first thing that we will take the specimen on the slide and keep it on the stage. So place the slide with specimen on the stage. On the stage. Second one, that is, adjust the focus of the eyepiece and the objective lens for the clear view. Obviously, we will going to adjust the eyepiece, we will going to adjust the objective lens in order to get the clear view of the specimen. So, adjust the focus of the eyepiece and the objective lens for a clear view. Then view the slide through eyepiece. View the slide through eyepiece. Okay. So, how we can view, we can use the microscope? At first, we have to take the slide on which the specimen has been kept. Now, we have to keep the slide on the stage because we have to see it. Now, we will adjust the focus of the eyepiece and that of the objective lens in order to get the clear view. Means we will continuously to do the adjustment until and unless we will get the clear view of the specimen which was kept on the slide. And finally, students, view the slide through eyepiece. Obviously, it is eyepiece. It means this is that particular lens with the help of which we will get the clear view of the specimen. Okay, so this is how we can use the microscope. Now, what are the precautions that we should take while using a microscope? So the first one is never allow sunlight to fall on the mirror of the microscope. To fall on the mirror of the microscope. Okay, because it could hurt your eyes. So we should never allow sunlight to fall on the directly on that of the mirror of the microscope, because what will happen, it will get reflected from the mirror and can enter into the eyes. So if this will happen, students, that will going to harm your eyesight. Okay, so we should not adjust the mirror in such a way that the light will enter directly into our eyes. The second one, always keep both the eyes open. Always keep both eyes open. Both eyes open while looking into the microscope. While looking into the microscope. While looking into the microscope. This will help to avoid eye strain. So these are some of the precautions that we should take, student. What happened when the person used to see anything which is any specimen with the help of the compound microscope, they used to close one eye and see it. But we should never do that. Always keep both of your eyes open in order to avoid any kind of a strain that you are giving to your eyes while keeping one of the eye closed. So never do that. Instead of that, we should always open our eyes. So these are the precautions, students. The first one, we should never allow sunlight to fall directly on the mirror, which will finally enter into the eyes and can hurt our eyes. And the second one, that while looking into the with the help of the eyepiece to the specimen, we should always keep both of our eyes open in order to avoid any kind of a strain that happen to our eyes. Okay. So this is what, student, this is about the microscope, how we use the microscope, what is a compound microscope, and how the compound microscope is helpful to see the object on a large way. Let me tell you a few things, students, although that is in a higher section, but just a few knowledge that I want to give you, that with the help of a compound microscope, we can see only the general structure of the cell. That we will going to study what is the structure and the generalized structure of the cell. Generalized structure of the cell is included cytoplasm, which included nucleus, and the cell wall, which is present especially in that of the plant cell. In case of an animal cell, we will see the cell membrane. So compound microscope, it is there in order to provide the generalized structure of the cell. But if we want to see inside the cell, we need a very powerful microscope. But yes, compound microscope help in enlarging the image, so we are able to get the image clear. Okay, now let us see the another topic, and that is the part of the cell. Part of the cell. Part of the cell. So the basic structure of the cell is called as the generalized cell structure. And what is the generalized cell structure, students? So the main part of the cell, are cell membrane, then cytoplasm, and nucleus. These are what? These are the main part. It does not mean that It does not mean that it does not consisting of any other part. Absolutely it is having, but the general structure, the main part is these three, that is cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus.